Alright guys, welcome to a new unit, Unit 7. We're going to be covering distance, midpoint, and circles. In my opinion, it's a pretty easy unit compared to the others. So in Lesson 1, we're going to do the distance formula and the midpoint formula. As you can see, please add these to your notes. The distance, we're referring to if we have 2 points on a graph. That's what everything here is going to revolve around. If we have two-dimensional space and, also known as a XY graph or coordinate plane. So the distance formula noted by lowercase d is you have to subtract the x's and then square them, subtract the y's and then square them, add the two numbers together, and then finally at the end, square root that number. So square root is always your last step. Midpoint formula is midpoint's always noted by capital M. Remember, it's capital M because in math, lowercase m is slope. So to find the midpoint, it's very simple. It's just a point that is literally in the middle of 2 points. And all you have to do is, for the x-coordinate, you add the x's and divide by 2. Comma, you add the y's and divide by 2. And you write your answer as a point with, parentheses. So in example 1, we're going to find the midpoint and the length. Remember, when it asks for length, that means distance. So we're going to find the midpoint and the length of the segment, also known as distance, joining the points. So in each problem here, we are going to do 2 things. Distance and midpoint. So let's find the distance first. So of course we would label x1, y1, x2, y2, if you need to label. Some people don't. It's not necessary. All right, so big square root, then we have x2 minus x1 squared. Notice I put minus x1, double negatives change to a plus, then a plus sign, then y2 minus y1 squared. And now I am going to continue my work below. So 1 plus 3, so that'll be 4 squared, plus negative 1 minus 5, that'll be negative 6 squared. Now I'm going to square those numbers. So 16 plus 36. Then I'm going to add those numbers. Square root of 52. And it's up to you guys. I don't mind if you leave it in decimal form. It would be 7 point something. Or if you have it in radical form, this would be 4 times 13. That would be 2 root 13. So again, I'm cool if you put it in radical form, 2 root 13, or 7 point, whatever it is, 7 point something. All right, and that's distance formula. Pretty easy stuff. Now let's try, actually, let's continue with distance. Let's do another example. So big square root. Then we have, in parentheses, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1. We are now going to do negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Plus, and then 4 minus 6 will be negative 2 squared. Next step, we're going to square those numbers. Negative 5 squared is 25. Plus negative 2 squared is 4. I do want to emphasize that when you are squaring numbers, please remember you're going to get positives. There's no such thing as a negative distance. Those two results, those two numbers like 25 and 4, gotta be positive. So if you're squaring in a calculator, either don't use the negative or make sure to at least use the parentheses carefully. All right, and then add those numbers and square root of 29. Now, square root of 29, it's a radical that cannot be simplified. So you can either keep it like this or you can change it to a decimal if you want. That would be about probably 5.4, somewhere at 5 point something. All right, let's try another one. Square root of x2 minus x1. Notice I have a double negative. Minus a negative 7 would be a plus 7. And then plus y2 minus y1. Now I'm going to get the simplify the parentheses. So that'll be 5 plus 7 gets 12 squared. 3 minus 0 gets 3 squared. Now I'm going to square the numbers. 12 squared is 144, plus 3 squared is 9. And then I would add those finally to get square root of 153. All right, I am going to try to see if I can break down this this radical here using prime numbers. This does divide by 3 to get 51. 51 divides is 3 and 17. So we do have a 2 of a kind here. So 3 comes out. So it'll be 3 times the square root of 17. As I'm cool with you leaving it as 3 root 17, or if you have a or if you have a decimal form, it'll probably be 12 point something. Not probably, it will be 12 point something. All right, now let's get the distance of these 2 points. So x2 minus x1, double negatives, squared plus x2 minus x1. Sorry, I did the y's first and then the x's. It really doesn't matter which one you do first, even though the formula has the x's first and then the y's second. It will work out the same here. For some reason, I was just thinking alphabetically backwards here. Anyway, it'll work out. So this will be 14 squared plus 0 squared. So just get rid of that. And then the square root of 14 squared is, so that'll be 196 plus 0, which is square root of 196. And it actually, the square root of 196 is a perfect square, and it is actually 14. 14 squared is 196. So the distance is 14. All right, now let's take a look at the midpoint formula again. Remember to find the midpoint. That's if we were to plot a point between the 2 points. So our answer is going to be written as an ordered pair. So we're going to add the x's, divide by 2, and add the y's, divide by 2. So remember, big M for midpoint. Don't use a little m. Little m is slope. So add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So for the x, that'll be negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And then for the y's, 5 plus negative 1 is 4, then divide by 2. And now I'll finally divide. So my answer is negative 1 and 2. So you're just adding and dividing by 2. That's it. Can't get any easier than that. Okay, let's try letter B, midpoint formula again. So this would be 3 plus negative 2 divided by 2, comma. 6 plus 4 divided by 2. So let's add. So that'll be 3 plus negative 2 is 1/2. And 6 plus 4, that'll be 10 over 2. And now we're going to divide. So we're going to have 0.5 for 1/2. And 10 over 2 is 5. Easy stuff. All right, now let's try the midpoint for letter C. Add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So let's add. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. And 0 plus 3 is 3 divided by 2. And then finally divide by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. And 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. And then finally letter D. Add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So we're going to add. 4 plus 4 gets 8. Negative 6 plus 8 is 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So there's your midpoint, 4, 1. And that's it. That's the intro lesson to the unit. You guys should be prepared to hit up your homework now. The lesson 1 homework covers, I've now prepared you. It's only one page, page 4, numbers 1 through 6. Have a great day.